Charlie Munger, the right-hand man of Warren Buffett, the guy who passed away with a net worth of $2.6 billion, has one famous quote that I can't get out of my head. He said the first $100,000 is a bitch, but you gotta do it. He said, I don't care what you have to do, find a way to get your hands on that first 100 grand. Now Munger stresses getting to that 100K by any legal means necessary because, and this is the part nobody tells you, your net worth completely explodes after your first 100,000. And that's not a feeling, that's not motivation, that's math. It's due to a few core principles we're going to break down in today's video. And then at the very end, I'm going to hand you 3 strategies you can actually use in your everyday life to get there as fast as humanly possible. So stick around, because the last one is the one most people completely ignore. The first principle you have to understand is that capital scales really, really well. Now, what do I mean by that? I'm talking about the idea that the returns you get from having money grow proportionally as the amount of money itself grows. Let me show you. Say you invest $100 in the stock market, or some other investment. You take on some risk, and by the end of the year, let's pretend you make a 10% return. That means you've got an extra $10 to show for it. And look, $10 is not changing anybody's life. I'd actually argue most of us could go make $10 in an hour doing some random job or task. So in this scenario, you risked $100 of your hard-earned money, you waited a full year, and you walked away with 10 bucks. That is not powerful. Now let's run the exact same movie, except this time you had $100,000 invested, and you got that same 10% return. That's $10,000. And here's the fascinating part. You took on the same amount of risk as the first scenario. Same risk, same amount of time. 2 completely different results. And the only thing that changed was the amount of capital you started with. This, right here, is exactly why people say it takes money to make money. It's not a cliche. It's a description of how the machine actually works. The second principle to understand is that stacking up your money to that first 100K is like rolling a snowball down a hill. As the snowball rolls down, it gets bigger and bigger because it's picking up more snow along the way, and the momentum keeps carrying it further down the mountain. Let me put numbers on it. Pretend you save $10,000 a year and you're able to earn a 7% return in the stock market. Now, the market historically returns somewhere around 8 to 10% a year, but let's use 7 to be conservative and to account for taxes and fees. Saving up to your first 100K in this case would take you about 7.84 years if you save 10 grand a year and invest it. Now here's where people's brains break. A common misconception would be that saving up a full $1 million would then take 7.84 years times 10, right? 10 times the money, 10 times the weight. But that is not how it works. Not even close. It only takes a fraction of that time to get to $1 million. Let me show you why. After you hit 100,000, getting to 200K total only takes about 5.1 years. Why? Because now your original 100K is out there generating interest for you, and you're still stacking your 10 grand a year on top of it. And every single 100K comes faster than the last one. You keep contributing your 10,000 a year, while the money you've already got keeps working for you at 7%. So let's actually watch it happen for the first 500,000. The first 100K takes you 7.84 years. The second takes 5.1 years. The third, 3.78 years. The fourth, 3.01 years. And the fifth 100K, only 2.5 years. And by the time you hit that $1 million mark, the final stretch would have taken you just 3.74 years. Now let me break down what that actually means, because it's kind of hilarious. That first 100K took you 7.84 years, which is 25.5% of the total time it took to reach $1 million. Think about that. The first 100 grand ate up a quarter of your entire journey. The remaining 900K only took up 74.5% of the time. Your wealth accumulation is disproportionately, brutally harder at the very beginning. And by the way, if you're curious, the next 100K after you cross $1 million, that takes about 15 months. 15 months versus almost 8 years for your first one. So hopefully this shows you 2 things. 1, your net worth genuinely explodes once you clear 100K. And 2, even more importantly, if we can get to that first 100K faster than 7.84 years, we buy ourselves so much more time on the back end for a truly ridiculous amount of wealth to pile up. Because here's the whole secret. All the friction is in the beginning. All of it lives in that first 100,000. And that is exactly why Charlie Munger called it a bitch. And it's exactly why you should do everything in your power to get there fast. And this is honestly one of the biggest problems I see with a lot of people my age, and with this generation in general. We live in an instant gratification world. Half the time we're not even thinking about the consequences of our spending before the money's already gone. I've got friends who aren't anywhere close to 100 grand in net worth yet, and instead of building, They're out there blaming society and rage spending every dollar they touch because they'd rather live in the moment, because they can't afford anything anyway. And look, I get it. Cost of living is genuinely brutal right now, and I'm not telling you to never enjoy your life, but I am telling you to be reasonable with whatever dollars you've got left after the essentials. Now that you understand how important that first 100,000 really is, does that change how you feel about a random night out where you drop way too much? Or impulse buying the trendiest new clothes you'll wear twice? Or paying $300 a month more on a car you didn't need? Before you hit 100K in net worth, every single dollar carries so much more weight, especially at the start. That's the real reason you hear finance people online telling you to skip the coffee, or ragging on millennials for buying avocado toast. I'm looking at you, Graham. And there's truth buried in the joke. You should be saving as aggressively as you reasonably can while you're young and trying to build that base. My dad has this dumb little saying he always hits me with. $1 million, son, is just made up of 1 million single $1 bills. It's a stupid line, but the point stands. Every single dollar matters. You stack one, then another, and slowly those bills turn into 1,000, then 5,000, then 10,000, and then it starts to mean something. Now here's the part that surprises almost everybody. Contrary to what most people believe, your first 100K does not come mostly from investment returns in the market. Let me show you. There's a calculator from the 4-Pillar Freedom blog. I'll drop it in the description. If you save $15,000 a year for 6 years and you earn a modest 4.5% return, you'd land at around $105,000. But here's the kicker. 85% of that would be your savings, and only 15% would be investment returns. Take another example. Say you save $11,000 a year and average a 10% return. It takes you about 7 years to cross 100K, and even then, your savings make up roughly 67% of the total. The point is simple, and it's freeing. Your first 100,000 almost never comes from investing gains. It comes from being smart with your money, spending a lot less, and figuring out how to earn a lot more. And every one of those things is inside your control. You don't need the market to save you. You need you. So, if you want that $100,000 as soon as humanly possible, I've got 3 strategies for you. 2 of these come straight out of a book called The Millionaire Next Door, which I'll reference in a second. But all 3 of these will get you moving today. Strategy number 1, increase your offense. This is a bit of a sports analogy, so stick with me. The single biggest lever on your path to 100K is raising the amount of income you're pulling in as fast as you can. And it doesn't matter what income level you're starting from. Your offense should be laser focused on building wealth. That means taking classes for a certification that pays more. That means testing side hustles or picking up freelance work. That means switching jobs the second a better opportunity shows up. It means investing your money into stocks, real estate, or other businesses. And it means developing one genuinely high-income skill over the next year. The whole idea here is that your time and your energy should be pointed at building wealth, not just spending it. Which brings me perfectly to strategy number 2, play good defense. Let me read you a line straight from The Millionaire Next Door. It's an older book from the 90s, but it says, "If you cannot increase your income significantly, then become wealthy some other way. Do it defensively." The entire premise of that book came from studying regular Americans who quietly became millionaires. And what they found was that most of these people weren't high-flying earners at all. They were ordinary people with consistent, boring, rock-solid financial habits. A huge number of them just played incredible defense, even when their income was nothing special. So defense, in this context, means getting strategic about spending less, planning the year ahead, actually budgeting, cutting back on the discretionary stuff where you're quietly bleeding money. Let me ask you something. Do you know exactly how much you spent eating out last year? Total? Most people have no clue. But the millionaires in that book, they knew. Not because they loved budgeting. Nobody loves budgeting. But because they knew they had to, in order to keep their spending in check. Strategy number 3, maximize the efficiency of every dollar you already have. If you live in pretty much any Western country, you already know the government loves taking a slice of your paycheck. In some countries, that's north of 50%. In the US, the top federal bracket sits around 37%. So one of the easiest ways to keep more of your own money is to grow it inside a tax-sheltered account, a Roth IRA, a traditional IRA, or a 401k. With a Roth, your earnings grow completely tax-free. With a traditional IRA, you at least get a tax deduction on what you put in each year. And with a 401k, you often get an employer match, which is free money, plus the tax benefits on top. If you can funnel your dollars through accounts like these, you're shielding them from that 37% bite. And remember, all the friction is in the beginning, so anything that helps us clear that hump faster is a genuine win. One more efficiency move. If your cash is just sitting in a big bank's checking account, earning you basically 0%, move it into a high-yield savings account. Same money, actually working for you instead of quietly losing value to inflation. It's the laziest, easiest win on this entire list, and almost nobody does it. So let's bring it all home. Your first 100,000 is the hardest money you will ever make. It's slow, it's frustrating, and it feels like the numbers are barely moving. But that is precisely the point. Because once you clear it, the snowball takes over, and the math starts working for you instead of against you. Offense to earn more, defense to spend less, efficiency to keep more. That's the whole game. Charlie Munger built one of the greatest fortunes in history, and even he called that first 100K a bitch. So if it feels hard for you right now, good. That means you're doing it right. Just don't stop. Here's my one ask. If this made money feel even a little less stressful and a little more winnable, subscribe. That's the whole deal. Every video on this channel does exactly this. Takes one thing the rich understand about money and hands it to you in plain English, so you walk away a little wealthier and a lot harder to manipulate. Hit subscribe and I'll see you in the next one.